say it's the dream, but the silence feels louder than it seems. Applications set like ships in the dark. No replies, no spark, no start. You think it's a paper, just words on a page, but it's a system to break out the cage. Get higher fast, it's more than your past. You're the go-to pro, let the world know. Get higher fast, leave the doubt in the past. Worried that looking at the years you wear, like time erased what you bring to the chair. But it's not about age, it's the way you play. Pushing yourself, lead the way, the way. Connect to the ones who make the calls, shake the fear, break the walls. Get higher fast, it's more than your past. You're the go-to pro, let the world know. Get higher fast, leave the doubt in the past. Worried that looking at the years you wear, like time erased what you bring to the chair. But it's not about age, it's the way you play. Pushing yourself, lead the way, the way. Connect to the ones who make the calls, shake the fear, break the walls. Get higher fast, it's more than your past. You're the go-to pro, let the world know. Get higher fast, leave the doubt in the past. Get higher fast, it's more than your past. You're the go-to pro, let the world know. Get higher fast.
You scroll through hundreds of job descriptions, but they all sound the same. You spend so much time on every application, but it doesn't seem to matter. You send off application after application, but never hear back. You thought the interview went so well, but it's a no. You jump through all the hoops. The news keeps saying how there are all these employers that are struggling to find people to hire. So why does finding a great job have to be so hard? It doesn't seem very logical or fair. It's not. The system is broken. It's not your fault. The process most people go through to get a job is awful. But here's the good news. The system isn't very smart. In fact, it's downright dumb. It can be beaten. How? Most prospective employers and employees today are using the same old tired strategies that have been around forever. It's like professional camouflage. Everybody just blends into the crowd. But you don't have to be that way anymore. You can get traction. You can stand out from the crowd to unleash your God-given potential, to help a world in need, to do work that matters, to earn what you and your family deserve. You can do this. You're meant to do this. There are bright things on the horizon for you. This is the way. Welcome to the workshop. Get hired fast without settling, getting ignored, or losing hope so you can do work that matters and earn what you and your family deserve. My name is Eric Woodard. I'm a high-performance career and leadership coach based out of Washington, D.C. And if you're here on this Tuesday, I'm so glad you are. And you're so smart to be here, because if you've been struggling with how to figure out your job stuff, my friends, you are in the right place. If you would put in the chat, and we've got a small but mighty crowd here today. If you would put in the chat where you're from and how long you've been on the job search, because I'd like to know. I'm curious to know who we've got here today, because sometimes, my friends, being on a job hunt can feel a lot like pounding sand. Sometimes it can feel like waiting on a glacier, or maybe wandering through the desert, or sometimes it's like going into the arena or looking into an abyss. Not super fun, not super fun. So if you're here and you're sort of super casual about your career, I see you there, Jack in Coral Springs. Nice to have you here. If you're sort of unwilling to do work, if you're reluctant to take responsibility for the results you've been getting, you're really just interested in finding a job to make money, or sort of stuck in your ways and sort of closed-minded about trying new things, or you're really just sort of unwilling to be authentic, this probably isn't the job workshop for you. I see you there, Tyrion and Marietta. Nice to see you, Brent and Bellevue. On the other hand, if you're unsure about the direction you want your career to go, if you've been struggling to find ways to describe what you do, if you're uncertain if your resume is any good, or if you're tired of applying and hearing nothing back, hi there, Antonelia. I see you there. You're right here in Alexandria. I see you there. Right? If you've been doing interviews that seem to go great and you still get a big fat no, if you're trapped in a job you don't like and you're not sure how you can escape, and most of all, if you're losing hope, this is a workshop for you. So our agenda for today, I'm just going to really briefly tell you who I am. Some of you are probably here because you're like, I got this weird message on LinkedIn. I don't know how I even got here. I see you there, Ash, in Saudi Arabia, right? Like, and some of you are like, I've like either had friends or family who have worked with this program, and you already know that you're really interested in finding out more about how we help people get hired fast. That's great. But I'm just going to give you a little bit about where I'm coming from. Again, 4 strategies and 9 tactics that you can put to work today to elevate your job search. Then we're going to have time for a little Q&A. And I've also got an invitation for you guys. One of the things I do as part of my practice is I invite people to coaching calls, and sometimes people sign up to do those calls. And sometimes they sign up for the program, and a lot of times they don't. We've got Jess and Chris helping us here today. So if you're interested in getting a complimentary coaching call, you can sign up. The only requirements are you're not going to book a call and cancel. Please don't do that. Like, your time's really valuable. So is mine. So don't book a call with me if you're not going to show up, please. It really messes things up. And you're at least open to the idea of making an investment in yourself, and you're going to show up. As long as all that's true, book a call, and let's see if we can unpack what's been going on with you and your job search. All right. So I sort of just said all this. Okay. So here we go. Who is this guy? Well, guys, so where I'm coming from, I grew up in Asia. I didn't come to the States till I was 18, and I wound up transferring college 7 times, right? It was I was really sort of lost career-wise, didn't know what I wanted to do. I wound up as a scuba instructor on the island of Guam. That was pretty fun. I spent about 10,000 hours underwater with the fish doing this. And after I did that for a couple of years, I was like, man, my brain's pretty spongy. I thought, what would be the most prestigious job I could have? And I thought, well, that must be something like the White House. So I took out a piece of paper and I wrote a cover letter and sent my resume to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. And I said, dear Mr. President, you should hire me. And I sent that off, and I'm like, well, I'm never hearing back on that. And I didn't until about a month later. I was going past the Guam post office. The guy came out. He's like, Eric, you got this letter from the White House. And I was like, wow. And it had this cool envelope. I'd never seen anything like that before. I opened it up, and it was an internship application. Now, I didn't know what the hell an internship was, but I was really good at filling out applications. So I filled that out, sent it in. I'm like, I'm never going to hear back about that. But that got me thinking. I applied to some grad schools. I wound up at GWU, was like dumpster diving for furniture here in Washington, D.C. Had this big bushy haircut, bought a pair of running shoes one time, was out running past the White House. I was like, those White House bastards, they never even bothered to let me know about that internship thing. What is up with that? So I found a payphone. I put in a quarter, and I called them up. I said, hey, you bastards, what about that internship thing? And they're like, is this Eric from Guam? I'm like, yeah. But they're like, man, we've been trying to get in touch with you. You start in the First Lady's office on Monday. I'm like, well, that's really interesting. So I got a haircut, and I showed up, and I got a suit, and I showed up. Now, folks, I don't know if your politics match mine. Please forgive me if they don't. But this was back during the Clinton administration. I went to work for Hillary Rodham Clinton. She was a great boss, right? And I wound up working with her for a lot of the Clinton administration, right? Followed her to the U.S. Senate, where we did a bunch of stuff for the great state of New York. Followed her to the State Department, where he did a bunch of UNESCO stuff. Eventually, I became director of fellowships and internships at the Smithsonian Institution. And about 6 years ago, I started my own coaching practice, decided I was going to help people figure out career stuff, because at all different levels, at all different organizations and all different industries, I would see the same movie over and over again, where well-meaning people who are really interested in making a dent in the world, right, trying to figure things out, they they would run into sort of the same system that's not very linear or logical or fair. So now I do a lot of coaching. I've written a bunch of books. I have an outrageous number of very impressive pieces of paper, glowing testimonials, and you don't care about any of that. Because what you care about is, can I help you? I don't know, probably, maybe. Helped a lot of people get hired fast. Let's see how we can help you. So here we go. Right. So I'm going to, again, 4 strategies that you can use to elevate your job search right now. Guys, we've got a small but mighty crowd. So feel free to put questions in the chat if you've got them, and we'll get trucking. But I have a question for you. Here's my question for you. And again, we've got a smaller crowd. Let's see if anybody wants to take a shot at this. What's a good resume about? What do you think? Put it in the chat if you know. Let's see if we get 1 or 2 takers on this. What's a good resume about? What do you think? Let's see if anybody gets it right. All right. We'll give everybody just a second or two. Anybody wants to take a crack at it? All right. What's a good resume about? What do you think? We got some shy people here today, and there's usually kind of a delay. Okay. So here's the thing. So James says getting attention. Thanks for, yeah. So that's not bad, right? Thanks for trying to say it. So look, what a lot of times people say is a good resume is about me. Right? A good resume is about me. I'm going to do, so Mary Nick says it's a best-selling agent. Keith says impact. Okay. Jack says getting noticed. All right. It's not bad, guys. And none of these answers are correct. Right? None of these, a lot of people think a good resume is about me. No, it's not about you. What I can get done. Antonella, no, it's not about you. Right? It's not about you. It's about them. You want to be influential with another person or organization. The first thing you're going to want to talk about is not you. What you're going to want to talk about is them. And this brings us to strategy number 1. It's not about you. It's about them. Guys, if you get nothing else out of this workshop today, I hope you get this, because this alone will be a game changer for you, right? It's not about you. A lot of people are thinking, oh, me. What can I do for you? Let me tell you about my skills and experience and how passionate I am and how interested I am. And no. An employer's thinking about themselves. Right? So if you want to be influential, if you want to make an impact, if you want to get attention, get noticed, the thing you're going to want to do is not be talking a lot about yourself. You're going to want to be talking about them, because that's who employers are thinking about. So make the application about them, make your resume about them, your follow-up, your interview, your networking, make it all about them, and watch things change. And it's no wonder that we think a resume is very much about ourselves, because in school, it is about us. It's our cubby, right? It's our desk. It's our, trophy. It's our transcript. It's our diploma. And yet when we move to the working world, it's not about us, right? It's about the constituent, the client, the customer. It's about them. All right, guys, we're just getting started. All right, guys, here's another question for you. If I went to a library and I looked at a shelf full of storybooks and I looked at the front cover of those books, there'd be some words. What do we call those words on the front cover of a book? What do we call those words? I bet you know. Somebody's going to know this. What do we call the words on the front cover of a book? Who knows? Shout it out if you know it. And again, there's a little bit of a delay. Keith Walker. That's right, Keith. You got it right. It's a title. So Keith, we're going to send you this free class here. It's called How to Make Your LinkedIn Profile Awesome. So if you would email us at hello@woodardweb.com. Jessa or Chris will drop that in there. And Keith, if you email me at that address, I'll send you this course, How to Make Your LinkedIn Profile Awesome. But the rest of you are right? Jack, you're right. It's title. Now, isn't it interesting that's the same term we use to label people in the workplace, which tells me that just like we'll put a label on a storybook and call it a title, we'll put a label on somebody's career and call it a title. And this brings us to the idea of stories. Here's another question. I'll answer it myself. What percent of human decision-making is emotional and what percent is logical? I'll tell you, it's 100% emotional, right? Human decision-making isn't 50-50. It's 100% emotional. And the reason we know it's 100% emotional, right? The reason we know, oh, Ryan, you booked a call. Good job, Ryan. Nice job. We look forward to talking to you, Ryan. Ryan just booked a coaching call. Nice job, right? So the reason we know it's 100% emotional, right, is when somebody gets their limbic system damaged, they're fine, except they can't make a single decision. And that's actually the debilitating part, right? Human decision-making is 100% emotional. And after we make that emotional decision, we'll rationalize it later with facts, but the initial decision is 100% emotional. And the reason you're going to want to bring stories into your stuff is stories is how we convey emotion. It's right. It's like what Maya Angelou said about people won't remember the facts, but they'll remember how you made them feel. And stories are how we convey emotion. So if you're not using story in your stuff, you're really leaving a lot on the table, right? For example, right? One time I was managing a program and we were taking a bunch of applications, and this woman named Maggie wrote in, and she said she wrote in her essay how the summer before she'd been in a terrible car accident and her arm had been severed. Oh, wow, that's quite a story. So I was like, well, we got to accept Maggie. So Maggie, get ready for Maggie's first day, right? I'm waiting for one-armed Maggie to show up. She shows up the first day, 2 arms. Now it was bandaged from where it had been partially severed and reattached and she was doing some physical therapy. Was I pissed off that Maggie had 2 arms? Of course not. I was so happy that Maggie had both her arms. And I remember how that made me feel to this day, right? Emotion. Our capacity to process emotion is like orders of magnitude greater than our ability to process data. So if you've been stuck in trying to, give them a bunch of data, it's fine. And it's just just doesn't really make a difference in spite of what you might have heard. All right, guys, I bet somebody knows this, right? We're going to wait for an answer on this one. Who can tell me who this guy is? Does anybody on this call know? I'll give you a hint. He lives in Idaho. What's this guy called? What's this character called? He goes to high school. He's a friend of the llama. What's this guy's name? Who knows, if anybody? Keith Walker. We already gave you a course, Keith. Let's see if anybody else gets this. Who else is going to get this right? You're right, Keith. It is Napoleon, right? What's this guy's full name? Anybody else know? Maybe nobody else knows. Okay. So here's the deal, folks. This is Napoleon Dynamite. Okay. And if you haven't seen this movie, first of all, stop your job search and go see this fine piece of cinema. Okay. Because it's amazing. Napoleon's a high school kid. He sort of beats to his own drum. And in this particular scene, hey, Tyrion, we see you, Tyrion. You know what, Tyrion? If you email us at hello@woodardweb.com, we're going to send you this free course, how to make your LinkedIn profile awesome, because you knew Napoleon Dynamite. That's right. This is Napoleon Dynamite, right? He's a high school kid. In this particular scene, he's on stage in front of his entire student body, and there's music playing. He's managed to get a cassette tape up to the sound booth, but now he's on the hook to do a performance for which he has not prepared for. So what does Napoleon do? Right? He sort of thinks about it for a second. And then he's like, you know what? And he just does this performance. And it's the wildest damn thing you've ever seen in your life. And when he's done, he's sort of panting and sweaty and all the crowd's looking like this. And then they burst into applause. And the reason they do is because it's so authentic. Right? Keith says, everybody knows Napoleon. That's great, Keith. I love that. Right? Right. And I see you there. Cora. You got it right. I see you there. Yep. I see your answers. Good job. Good job. Right. But it's so authentic. Jamie Kern-Lima, the founder of It Cosmetics, says everybody's a good dancer if they commit fully. And she's right. Right. She's right. And this brings us to the idea of authenticity. Hey, Lori S., you just booked a coaching call. Good job, Lori. We look forward to talking to you. Nice work. Right. So, authenticity. Who do humans hire? I'll tell you, it's humans. Humans hire humans. In spite of what you may have heard out there about, you got to trick the ATS and the algorithms and the bots. Nah, don't worry about that. In an increasingly automated and artificial world, the opportunity is to be more human, not less. And let all your competitors worry about all the ATS and all that stuff. And I don't know, guys, AI is getting pretty good. The idea that we're going to somehow trick it and that there's one universal system. Nah, don't spin your wheels on that stuff, right? The opportunity is for you to be more human and connect with other people, right? Be relatable. You're going to want to put evidence in your resume that you're a human. I was working with a woman named Nina one time, and I said, Nina, your resume looks great. And where's the evidence that you're human? She looked kind of confused, and she's like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, what do you like to do for fun? So Nina said, well, I have a pen collection. I'm like, well, that's super effing weird, right? That's super effing. We got to pet. So she argued with me. She didn't want to do that, but I was like, okay. But about a month later, I heard from Nina, and she said that, well, she went into the interview. They talked about pens for 30 minutes, and then she got the job offer. I can't tell you how often this happens with the clients I work with. Happens all the time. All right. So you're going to want to put evidence in your resume that you're a human. Authenticity is your superpower. All right. Let's talk about Abe Lincoln. He said, give me 6 hours to cut down a tree and I'll spend the first 4 sharpening the axe, which brings us to the idea of systems. Guys, there's nothing wrong with you, right? It's just that the results you're currently getting in your job search are perfectly attuned to your current system. So if you want to get different results than the results you've been getting, you're going to want to adopt a different system. Now, for some of you, the system is oh, it's the economy, or my industry's saturated, or maybe I have a system called, I'm going to put an executive summary at the top of my resume. That sounds fancy. Or maybe I'll even put the title of the job I'm applying to at the top of my resume. That will make them pick me. Or maybe I'll hide my age, or I'll only put the last 15 years of experience because some 20-year-old somewhere told me that's, I mean, I'm not here to say if those systems are good or bad, but how they've been working for you, right? I mean, my experience is those systems don't work very well, right? So the opportunity, if you want different results than the results you've been getting, is to adopt a different system. Now, you could spend a lot of time and money trying to figure out the system that works, because a lot of you, and my heart goes out to you, this is your current system, right? And you've got the sticky gear shift and the buttons. I mean, you've just been working your heart out to try to make this system work. Here's what you're going to want to know. This is the system that's available. Now, you could spend a lot of energy and time and money going from this to this, or you could just get some help and we could just get this job thing handled for you, right? That's the opportunity. So how do you put this all to work? So first of all, guys, hey, Monica, you just booked a coaching call. Good job. We look forward to talking to you, right? I just want to show you that it does work. I'm going to play a tape. It's by a woman named Angel. She joined our program. It was a little over a year ago. Angel joined the program. She came to a workshop just like this, booked a coaching call, heard about our program, decided she wanted to make an investment in herself to get different results, was worried about the money. We gave her a payment plan, and she got hired real damn fast. Here's her story. In the time we've got left, I'm curious, especially if there's somebody we haven't heard from yet. They've had a win, a loss. Angel, I got to ask you, what do we know, if anything? What do we know?
I got the job. Yay!
Whoa!
The offer. I'm moving in a week. Yeah, it's crazy. And I know when we first met, you're like, oh, like, let's get something by your birthday. And my birthday is in 4 days, so I was able to do it. Yay!
And I just want to acknowledge you. Like, you dove in, you did it, you did the work.
Thank you.
Way to go.
It would not have been possible without like signing up for this program. Truly, I think it made the difference for me.
So good, Angel.
Yeah.
Really happy for you.
Yeah.
Super awesome. Congratulations to you. Yeah. Yeah, nice job, Angel. Nice job, Angel. So look, hey, Tyrion, you just booked a call. Nice job, Tyrion. We look forward to talking to you, guys. So look, guys, if you're interested in getting some help, again, complimentary coaching call, please do me a favor. If you're going to book a call and cancel, like, please don't do that to my schedule. I'm just one person taking these calls. So don't do that to me. But again, if you're at least open to the idea of making an investment in yourself and you're wanting to get hired fast, book a call, come talk to me and let's see what we can get handled together. All right. So, 9 tactics. Here we go, guys. 9 tactics you can put to work right now to get hired fast. Here we go. So here I got a metaphor for you guys. Let's see if anybody gets this right. Let's say there's a lake and in the middle of the lake, somebody's drowning. Okay. So there's a lake in the middle of the lake, somebody's drowning. Now they're surrounded by other people in little boats. If this was a job search, who's the person drowning? Put it in the chat. Let's see if anybody gets this right. Okay. So there's somebody in the middle of the lake drowning. They're surrounded by other people in little boats. If this was a job hunt, who's the person drowning? Let's see if anybody gets this right. Other than Ryan. Ryan's a ringer. Ryan's been getting all these right. We've got a little bit of a smaller crowd today. So there's a good chance if you answer, you'll get it right. Okay. So somebody's in the middle of the lake drowning. They're surrounded by other people in little boats. If that was a job hunt, who's the person drowning? I'll give you guys just a few more seconds. Hey, James H., you just booked a coaching call. Good job, James. We look forward to talking to you. Good job. So Antonella says she feels, like she's drowning. Okay. Anybody, any takers? So sort of like what probably the recruiter hiring manager. I see you, Keith. Yeah, you're a ringer. Okay. So here's the deal. For a lot of us, it feels like we're the one drowning, and we're not. We're not, Antonella. Keith, again, you got it right. It's the recruiter. It's the hiring manager. And the reason we know they're drowning is they've told us they're drowning, right? They put up a job description to say, help, I'm drowning. Like, I'm drowning, right? Now, some of the job seekers are going to be in those boats and they're going to row up to that drowning employer. They'd be like, oh my gosh, let me help you. Let me help you. I feel like I'm drowning, but you're the one in the water. Pick me, pick me. And that person, the employer in the water is going to be like, well, I want out of the water, but not from that guy. That guy's creepy, right? What you're going to want to do instead is roll up and say, hey, you're drowning. That looks super scary. Let's have a conversation to see how we can get your ass out of the water. What's important here is not that I'm the one that rescues you. What's important here is you don't drown and die. And this brings us to the idea of mindset. Instead of approaching your job search from, I hope they pick me, which isn't very effective or compelling, right? What you're going to want to do instead is realize that they'd be lucky to get you, right? You're going to want to come from a place of service. The moment you say the words, I'd be really good for you, you're robbing them of the opportunity for that to be their idea. And you're not going to want to do that. Instead, you're going to want to approach from a place of service. Nobody wants to be sold, right? Nobody wants to be sold, right? Selling people's creepy. We've gone over this historically. Buying people's creepier. So you don't want to do any of that, right? What you're going to want to do instead is come from a place of service, okay? All right, another mindset for you here. Some of you know the show Deadliest Catch, right? Alaska, fishermen in Alaska, they put these big steel cages on the bottom of the ocean floor trying to catch some crab. And sure enough, Charlie the crab comes along. It's like, oh, free lunch. And Charlie goes in, and Charlie's nibbling, and Sally and Cheryl and all of his crab buddies join. But eventually the bait's gone, and more crabs are joining. Now, here's the interesting part. Whenever a crab tries to crawl out, so Charlie tries to crawl out, the other crabs will pull Charlie back in. They'll even pull off one of Charlie's crab arms. They'll even do a crab murder on poor Charlie because crabs like to be with other crabs. That's how crabs roll. Tyler G booked a coaching call. We look forward to talking to you, Tyler. Good job, right? Like, that's how crabs roll. And of course, the sad part is they all get pulled up and they become dinner on somebody's seafood platter, right? Which brings us to the idea of environment. Okay, environment. A lot of times when people join my program, this is one of the first things we work on. We're like, well, I've been having trouble getting a job. Well, how's your environment? Not just your physical environment, but your social, emotional, intellectual environment, your spiritual environment, your digital environment, right? Because if we can get that all dialed in, we can realize that environment eats like motivation for lunch, right? You might think, oh, it's not working because I'm depressed or I'm tired. I mean, that could be, but just fix your environment, man. Watch all that go away. Again, it's another system. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just you might have an environmental system that's not working very well. And the opportunity is to get some help to tighten that up, right? It's a huge, huge influence, right? Some of you know the idea of reference groups, right? You're the average weight, income, education, 5 people you hang out with most. Exactly, right? We use other people and our physical environment as a reference to who we want to be, and who we want to be has a direct effect on how we get hired. All right, here we go. Tactic number 3. It's hard to hit a blurry target. Some of you know the proverb, where there is no vision, the people perish. I would say where there is no vision, the job seekers don't get hired. This brings us to the idea of vision, right? Sometimes I'll ask people, I'll be like, hey, Gomer, how much money do you want to make? And says, well, I want to make anywhere between $50,000 and $150,000. I'm like, that's beautiful. What do you want to do, Gomer? Well, I want to help people. I'm like, that's really beautiful, and it's super vague. Right. And the reason that doesn't work, it's like what Bruce Lee said. He said, be careful what you tell yourself. Your body's listening. This is the idea behind this, is the reticular activating system. We will literally be blind to things unless we tell our brain to look for them. It's like when you go to buy a new car and you drive it off the lot and you're like, nobody's got this car. And then you see the car everywhere, right? Because now you're looking for it. Now your brain's looking for it. So you want to have some clarity around what the world needs, right? And how you might be able to help them get what the world needs. Notice it's not about me. It's about what the world needs first, right? And where there's possibility. That's what we're after. If you get clarity around that, you're not going to have to worry about this job search thing much longer, right? When race car drivers drive 500 miles in a circle, they're very careful not to look at the outer wall because, hey, Christina, nice to see you. You booked a coaching call. Good job, right? You want to be very careful because the car will tend to go where you look. Right. And if you're not, but so if you don't have vision, it's like you're driving 500 miles in a circle, like one of those race car drivers in your job hunt. You don't want to do any of that. You don't want to do any of that. All right, guys, I got another question for you. Again, I'm going to wait for answers. If I went to the store and I bought this, what would I be buying? Put it in the chat if you would, please. If I went to the store and I bought this, right? And I'm sure Keith's going to be Keith, I don't know you, buddy, but you give smart answers, right? What would I be buying if I bought this? Let's see if anybody can beat Keith to the punch. If I went to the store and I bought this, what would I actually be buying? So James says a drill. Okay. He says he'll hold off on answering. Okay. It's not a drill. I mean, you are buying a drill, but that's not really what I'm buying. What am I buying here? Because I actually don't need this sitting around my garage, as beautiful as this Ryobi cordless drill is. Antonella says a drill. Right? Jack says a drilling solution. What I actually want, guys, what I'm actually looking for are holes. I'm actually buying a hole. And actually, I don't even want a hole in my wall, man. That doesn't sound good. I want a bunch of holes in my walls. What I actually want is a place to put the hook. And actually, I don't even want a bunch of hooks coming out of my walls. That sounds dangerous. I'll gash my arm open. What I actually want is a place to hang the photo. And I don't even care about that. What I really care about is the feeling I get when I look at the photo of my beautiful family, right? That's hanging on the hook, that's in the hole that's made by the drill. And this brings us to the idea of giving them safety. What a lot of job seekers are doing is they're just talking about me, right? It's all about, let me tell you about my skills, and that's a hot dumpster fire. Some people are talking about them and they're talking about the drill instead of the thing that's going to keep that employer up at night as they lay in bed working to go to sleep, right? So if you can get to that black swan, it changes everything. Do you see how this is so much more sophisticated than maybe some of the stuff you've heard other places? Okay. It's not about you. It's about them. And the thing we want to make them feel seen, heard, and understood. We want to give them safety, because if we can do that, you don't have to worry about whoever else is applying, because they're all going to be busy using AI and talking about themselves. Yeah. Hey, Rebecca, you booked a coaching call. Good job, Rebecca. We look forward to talking to you. Right. So you don't have to worry about any of that stuff. Okay. You want to give them safety. All right, guys, let's talk about resumes. Here's a copy of mine. And look, guys, paper, resumes, cover letters, it's kind of a goofy system, and it's the one we have. So when you do send paper in, you're going to want to do it in a way that's uniquely Rebecca, or uniquely, Keith, or uniquely Antonella, or Jack, right? Or James. You're going to want to make your stuff unique to you. It's really important, because otherwise it's professional camouflage. The last thing you're going to want to do out there is do best practices. Don't do any of that, right? You're going to want to communicate with employers in a way they cannot ignore. So for instance, do you have hyperlinks in your resume? I do, right? Last year we were working with a lady, and she had the brilliant idea to her resume to put at the bottom, 2 truths and a lie. Brilliant. She got 2 interviews and 2 offers just from doing that, right? She gave them evidence that she was human. My encouragement for you is to do the same. All right, guys, here we go. I got a question for you. Is that if a job application submitted and there is no follow-up, does it even make a sound? And I would humbly suggest it doesn't, which brings us to the idea of follow-up. Some of you apply to jobs and you're like, well, I hope I hear back. Next application. Hey, Aswathi, you booked a call. Good job. We look forward to talking to you, Aswathi, right? Hope I hear back on that one. And you're not going to want to do that, right? You're going to want to follow up, because you can say, I know how to take initiative and all the rest. And if you don't follow up, right, it's all in the follow-up, right? Right. So when you follow up, the last thing you're going to want to say is, hey, let me tell you all about myself, or let me tell you how passionate I am about the job, or, hey, I just wanted to check in, because that's all about you. And you're not going to want to follow up with the recruiter, because they're professionally trained ninjas at keeping you away from the hiring manager. So you don't want to do any of that. You're going to want to follow up in a way that makes them feel seen, heard, and understood. You're going to want to follow up with the right person. Now, some of you are like, but Eric, sometimes I don't know how to reach the right person. They don't put the contact info. I got you covered. Guys, I've got a course. It's called How to Contact Anybody. I want to give it to you right now. Here's how you get the course. First, you're going to go to my LinkedIn, right? You're then going to follow me on LinkedIn, right? Hit the follow button, and then you're going to send me an email message, right? Or when you follow me, you're going to send me a message through LinkedIn that has the single word. Here's the word. The word is chicken. Okay. So you're going to go to LinkedIn, follow me, message me on LinkedIn, the word chicken. Thank you, Jessa and Chris. And I'm going to send you a copy of this course called How to Contact Anybody. And you won't ever have to worry about this ever again, because you'll be able to contact everybody that you want to. Wouldn't that be amazing? All right, guys, here we go. Got another question for you. Some of you have, like if I asked you, how many humans do you know on Earth? You'd be like, well, quite a few. And I'd be like, well, how many of those people know you're on the job hunt? And you'd be like, well, a good number. And I'd say, well, how? And they'd be like, well, I put it on LinkedIn 3 months ago. And I'd be like, so they would have had to go to LinkedIn 3 months ago and see, yeah, now you'd start to get worried. Here's what I'm getting at, guys, networking, right? Some of people get stingy with letting people help them. And it's such a shame, because asking other people for help is such a gift, right? It's such a gift, right? Why are you being so stingy? There's people out there that would love to help you. This part of my program is by far the most powerful, right? Because you're going to kind of want to come up with a system for asking other people for help, right? And doing it one-offs is okay, but it's sort of like you got to get the right bait on the right fish at the right time. I mean, good luck. That could take a while. So what we want to do instead is filter the effing ocean, because that way we don't have to worry about where people are, right? They're just like it doesn't matter because we're everywhere, right? So you're going to want to have a system for networking consistently, right? From a place of service. Ray, you booked a coaching call. We look forward to talking to you, Ray. Good job. All right. That's what we're up to here, folks. This is what we want to do. All right, guys. Is this our final tactic? I think it is. Let's talk about interviews. Next to the last one, interviews. So here it is, guys. I want to give you some really good interview advice. Here's the advice. I'm about to deliver the advice. Here's right now. Here's the advice. Don't answer their questions. What? Don't answer their questions? Yeah, that's right. Don't answer their questions, right? Don't do that, right? Because there's really only ever one question they're ever asking you in an interview. And that question is this: can I trust you? Right? If we lived in that Ricky Gervais world, right? The invention of lying where, everybody tells the truth. They'd be like, hey, thanks for coming to the interview. Can I trust you? Nah, you can't trust me. Okay, well, great. Well, I'm going to tell you I'll be in touch, and I won't. I'm just going to ghost you. Okay, that sounds great. I mean, it'd be beautiful. It'd be so easy, right? But instead, what employers do is they're like, tell me about a time you took a risk, or tell me about your greatest professional achievement. But all they're really asking is, can I trust you? So you might as well give answers and tell stories that help build trust, right? And the way we do that is we make it about them. We tell stories that convey an emotion of trust, right? A lot of times people find their way to my Get Hired Fast program, and they've had a history of getting to like the second round, and then they don't get it. And they're like, I don't know what happened. I'm like, I do. It's not your fault. It's just that they didn't trust you, or they trusted somebody more. Maybe they didn't trust themselves, but somewhere there was not enough trust. So the opportunity in the interview is to build trust, strengthen trust. Stop worrying so much about answering their questions. Start focusing more on building trust. It's one of the things we help clients do that helps them get hired super fast. All right, guys, final tactic. Here we go, guys. Here it is. Let's talk about offers. Two things I want to offer you. I want to offer you about offers. That's kind of funny. Okay. Two things. One, when you're going through job boards, you don't have to worry if you're qualified. Okay. They'll have an opinion. So you don't have to worry about that. And two, you don't even have to worry if you want the job unless and until it's offered, because before that point, you're sort of negotiating with yourself and you don't even know what the offer would be, right? Even if the salary and location seems off, don't worry about it. Just apply, right? After they've fallen in love with you and they make you the offer, that's when you can get curious about what's possible. All right. So this is how you handle offers. A lot of times people pay for my program and then some, just in our ability to, when they get an offer, to negotiate the offer, right? Andrew, you booked a coaching call. We look forward to talking to you, Andrew. Good job. Look forward to talking to you. All right. So that's how this works. So guys, here's what you're going to want to write down: 4 strategies, 9 tactics. This is how you get hired fast. This is how you get hired fast. Now you may notice that a lot of this stuff is not Googleable, right? This isn't stuff. As a matter of fact, this contradicts a lot of the best practices that are out there, right? So if what you've been doing hasn't been working, come get some help, and we can just get this handled. And again, guys, if you're interested in coming to talk to me, book a coaching call with me. Again, only requirements are you're not going to book a call and cancel and ghost me. Don't do that. How does it feel when employers ghost you? Not very good. Don't do that to me, guys. Don't do me. I'm a hard worker, guys. Don't do that to my calendar. 2, you're going to be at least open to the idea of making an investment in yourself, right? You want people to pay you real money. Be willing to spend some money on yourself. And then 3rd, you're ready to get started. And if that's you, we'll get to work, guys. We'll get to work. All right, guys, you guys have been a great audience, and I see we've got some questions. So I'm going to give you my full gigantic head so you can appreciate it fully. Let's see. Yeah, Yudan, don't answer their questions. This is such a valuable suggestion. That's right. Yeah, you're so welcome, Yudan. You're so welcome. All right. I think we just had 1 or 2 questions. Let's see if we can get that handled. What questions do we have, if any? We might not have any, guys. So if you've got, I'll hang here for just a few more seconds in case you've got any questions. But what I would say, my friends, is if you've been on the job hunt and, for any length of time, and you're just feeling stuck, the opportunity is don't do this alone, right? This stuff is hard enough. Doing it alone just makes it harder. It's sort of like going to the gym. Like you can work out on your own and you'll get bigger muscles eventually, or you can work with a trainer. You're just going to get bigger muscles faster. The only mystery here is time. You're going to get a job. It's just like, how long do you want it to take and how much money are you going to spend in the meantime, while you're not working? So guys, I really appreciate you guys. We're going to, Jessa and Chris, thank you for your amazing help today. We can start off showing them the testimonial from Charlotte here in a second. But I'm just going to leave you with a few, one or two testimonials, guys, just so you can see that a lot of people have gotten this handled. You can too. If you booked a coaching call with me, I really look forward to meeting you in person. And you don't have to keep doing this on your own, my friends, unless you really want to. But I really acknowledge you for being here. You're going to figure this out. And if you don't want to do it alone, come talk to us. All right, guys, take care of yourselves. Hope to see you soon.
My name is Charlotte Jones. I got a new position and I got hired pretty fast in the last month of being with Win at Work. So I have been searching for a job for a little over 7 months, and I've been at Win at Work for just a month, for about 40 days. So I do really like the one-on-one time that I get with a coach or a career coach, counselor. And I also like that interaction and listening to the successes and the stories of how someone might be thinking about their job search, or how they might want to present themselves during interview, what may work and what hasn't worked. And I like to hear those stories from others because I found that I was having some of the same experiences. And then really when it came down to getting an offer and being able to connect with Eric directly and really get that one-on-one coaching, that was truly helpful. I felt like that was a white glove service that was worth, getting involved with and connecting with Win at Work.
Well, first, will you tell us your name?
Jeff Borker. I just want to thank all of you guys. I didn't know how fast this was going to work. And you guys have all been great. I mean, all the feedback that I've gotten from you and from Eric and from Diana and the group as a whole is very supportive, very, very uplifting. Everyone's willing to help out. And it's just been a great experience. It's something that I won't forget. It's something that I'm going to take a lot of these concepts into my work activity. The job that I'm going into really is a dream job for me. I was just like, this is something I have to do because 2.5 years of doing the same thing, again, nothing was working. I was getting rejections, I was getting ghosted, but I would say put any predispositions away, go into it with an open mind, do the webinar, do the introductory call, and really just do it because it works.
Hi, I am Marcia Gomes. I am, I guess you could say, a recent graduate of Get Hired Fast because I did get hired and pretty fast. I am currently in my second week at my new position after having gone through the Get Hired Fast Win at Work programming and methodology. And I don't think it's exaggeration and hyperbole to say that this program absolutely was the kicker in getting me to where I am right now. So very thankful, very learned a lot and a lot of shifting in perspective. And I think that was super instrumental in kind of changing the way I approached my job search and my job hunt and eventually getting to where I am and landing this really cool position that I'm in now.